Right now, sitting in front of us is a hip hop legend, the one and only Special Ed. Man, what's up, partner?
Hey, what's going on, Davey? Everything is good, man. It's good to be out here in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Checking out the scenery, cable cars, all that.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you. We know that you are back on the scene. A lot of people know you for the classic record, Got It Made.
Right.
Before we go into your new record, talk about the significance of that song, why you made it, what was going on through your mind at age 15 when you did it.
Well, I was just trying to be creative and try to put graphic. I just wanted to put images in people's heads of the lifestyle that we should all be living, because it's like, 5% of the world is actually rich. So I'll just try to spread a little image of, what life should be like for us to have it made.
So, did that old saying that if you put it out there, it will happen. So here we are 15, 16 years later. Do you have it made?
Still got it made. As far as I'm concerned, I do, man. I look at a lot of my brothers my age that I came up with, and I feel I'm in a very good position.
In what sense? Because, when I saw you, you didn't come up here with a Bentley, and you don't have a silver suit on, and, you don't have sparkling diamond rings and all that, man.
Well,
Some people look at that and go, Ed ain't flashing like that, so he must not got it made.
Well, that's new money. Usually when you never had it and then you just get it, you tend to flaunt and wear silver suits, you know what I mean, and drive Bentleys. Most of the world's rich or elite wear the same clothes every day, you know what I mean, wear run-down sneakers. You wouldn't even know they had it. But not to say that I do have it in that capacity, but, I'm not a flashy guy. I'm a normal human being. I enjoy my life. I enjoy my privacy and my family, and that's the things that matter to me.
One of the classic records that you put out, The Mission, talk a little bit about that, because that to me kind of it opened the door, that and the show, in the sense that you all took these popular theme songs from movies and television shows, Inspector Gadget meaning the show, and you taking the James Bond thing, and just really kind of changed the way that people approach rap in terms of storytelling and all that. So talk a little bit about that song, the significance of The Mission.
Well, The Mission was started off as a beat I always loved rhyming to, which is the big beat. Anytime the big beat
by
drop,
Billy Squire.
Right.
The rock
Anytime
song.
that beat drops, I start rhyming. So Howie know that. So he put the beat together and I dropped The Mission on it. And then we said, well, this kind of has a theme of like a James Bond. So Spanador from Lisa and Cult Jam was there in the studio with us, and he started playing the keys on it. Dun, 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 and it turned into, it fit the whole theme of the story of the song. But The Mission was originally part 2 to the original Mission, which never came out because it was too hardcore, I guess, for my image or my label at the time.
Really? Were you killing people in this one?
Yeah.
Special Ed was killing people?
Yeah, it was really a story about me and action in the hood, about some kids that violated in the hood, and we went out to go get at them, and all type of drama. Found this girl, I slapped her up. Where he at?
Oh, Ed, you went there like that? Oh, come on, not Ed.
Now you know what? A lot of my rhymes I had to censor due to the nature of what was going on. At that time, it wasn't really acceptable, you know what I mean? And then came NWA. So it was kind of a situation where hip-hop was very censored, and especially my label and my age, they didn't want me to, portray those images or, curse at all.
Going back, you were 16, and they censored you, but last year there was a hit song from a 17-year-old named Jaquan out of St. Louis, where he was talking about getting tipsy, drinking, and
drinking
and then the whole thing.
Yeah.
What does that say about the direction of hip hop and how it's changed since then?
That tells me a lot, man. It's becoming more loose with the boundaries, and they're enabling us to express ourselves a bit more freely. But another thing is, if the guy is underage and advocating, alcohol and drinking, and that's to people of age. That is a contradiction right there that somebody should have looked at. But I don't wrong him for making a nice song, enjoying himself. When I was that age, I was in the clubs getting tipsy, so you know what I mean?
But you couldn't do a song about it.
Hey, I couldn't do a song about it, but I could do it.
Now, today we're with Special Ed as we doing this special, interview and sit down with him. For a long time, you were on Profile Records. That
Right.
was home to Run DMC, Spider D. So a whole lot of people
Dana
came off
Dane,
that. Dana
Sweet Tea,
Dane, yeah.
Rob Bass, Poor Righteous Teachers.
So a lot of
DJ
y'all
Quick.
came off of that. And now you got your own record label, Semi Records.
Right.
Talk about the difference between being on a label like Profile, which back in those days was groundbreaking because they were small and independent, versus Special Ed having your own Semi Records.
Well, the difference is I'm bearing all the costs. That's the difference. Profile, they were bearing the cost at that time, but they had sold enough records at that point to do a lot more than they did. One thing is they had a lot more going for them. For one, there was no sound scan. This was before sound
For
scan.
people listening, what is SoundScan?
Sound scan is when you go into the record store and you buy a record and it has a little scanner on the back and they bloop, beep it, and that's your sale.
Mm-hmm.
When I started, there was no sound scan, so it was impossible to tell how much records you sold. You had to go by the books of the company. Anyway, it was
So that meant not to cut you off, that you might not get paid. If they said, if Special Ed sold 1 million records and you had to depend upon the label, they might say, well, Ed, you only sold 100,000 records.
right.
Is that what frequently happened
That
to
was
artists?
normal practice in the industry. Before SoundScan, there was no real way of telling how much records were being shipped. And then my label, Profile Records, they also manufactured their own records. So they were a record label, a manufacturer, and they were a distributor. So they distributed their own records as well.
So this was really the fox guarding the hen coop.
Exactly.
Wow. So let me ask you, not to get too personal, did you get broken off the way you were supposed to, or did you go through some of the hardships?
I'm still going through it. I'm fighting with them. It's a constant battle just to be paid what I'm owed.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah. They they tend to think we all dumb and we don't know anything, but I know quite a bit. I know about publishing. I know about them administering my publishing to quite a few artists that have gone gold and platinum and multi-platinum. So I'm seeking my residuals, and they just don't want to pay.
For people that are listening, coming up in the business, what advice would you give them from the lessons you learned? Being 16, really wanting to get on, getting put on, now being, an older man who is, has his own label now. What lessons would you pass along?
I would pass along, you have to retain some sort of ownership in your material, whether it be some publishing or all of your publishing. I mean, you're the writer, and the way I feel now is like if I'm writing, no one's helping me write it. So, that speaks for itself.
So the way this works, let me just get this. You come into a label and you wrote a song like The Mission or I Got It Made or
Right.
Think About It or The Magnificent,
Right.
Any of these things. You spent time, thinking of it and all this. So a label gets at you and they go, well, Ed, this is great. We're going to keep the publishing. That's what they try to tell you, and then maybe give you a car or show you a picture of Halle Berry so you can hang out with her and tell you to keep it moving and sign on the dotted line.
What happened, the first thing that happened is Profile wanted half of the publishing, and then my management tried to get the other half. And I thought about it, and I was like, hold on, what's this publishing, and why am I not getting any of it?
So none of these people wrote the record.
None of them.
So what was their justification?
Well, when I found out what the publishing was, there really was no justification on my management's end, so they had to relinquish that to me. So I got 50% of my publishing, and the label had already swindled me into doing a publishing deal along with my record label deal. So I got an artist deal and a publishing deal in one document.
So you shouldn't do an all-for-one with a label.
Nah, you should do a label, a artist deal or label deal, whatever type of business arrangement you're trying to deal with, and then do a publishing deal separately with a publishing house, like, you know.
Now, what's the difference? I mean, this is real talk for a lot of people listening. So if you could break this
Right.
down just a little bit, you know, when you have an artist deal, what does that mean?
When you have an artist deal, you're being signed to a label as an artist. More than likely, the points or the percentages minimum because, you know, you're signed as an artist. You also have producers and, you know, executive producers and label. That's where most of the money goes.
Right, right,
Artists do not get most of the money.
right. They low men on the totem pole.
That's the lowest spot on the totem pole.
Everybody getting broken off.
Exactly.
So when I see people, you know, in these houses and cars and all that, a lot of times it ain't theirs.
A lot of time they renting. And another thing is, though, there's a lot more lucrative deals that go on now. They have production deals where you go up in percent. Then they have joint ventures. You go up in percent. Then you have distribution deals. You go further up in percent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might have a P&D or just straight distribution.
Okay.
So it's like 5-6 different type of deals you could really have, or it depends on what you want and what you're looking for.
So talk about your label, Semi Records. How you working this out? Are you selling them out the trunk of your car, or you working it out another way?
Well, I'm not really doing the trunk of the car. I have a straight distribution deal, which is basically the top level of, you know, a label other than doing it all yourself.
Okay.
I have distribution through a company called IDN Alliance. That's a merge of a few indie distributors, and you know, they got accounts in everywhere: Tower, Best Buy, Amoeba. You know, wherever you buy records, FYE, they have those major chain accounts, which is what was very interesting to me. Because if I was grinding on my own, it would be hard for me to get those accounts.
You meaning like you can find them in Target and all that?
Oh, definitely. You can find my album in Target, Best Buy, FYE, Amoeba. Like I said, anywhere you buy records.
We're talking with Special Ed. We're going to take a listen to another one of your songs. Think About It.
Okay.
Want to talk a little bit about that? Isn't it the one ding, ding, ding?
Ding,
Yeah,
ding.
yeah.
Yeah, the remix had that.
Yeah. Did you get in trouble for that?
No, actually.
Okay, you took it from what was it? Beat the Clock or something like that?
Yeah,
theme song?
Jeopardy or one of those
Jeopardy,
shows.
yeah.
One of those shows.
Back in those days, you could sample records and they didn't come after you. Nowadays,
Right.
man, they be looking for you.
Everything. One half a bar and they after you.
You know? So talk a little bit about this record. Think About
Well,
It.
Think About It was just like a lot of lyrics, you know, lyrics that I thought you should think about. You know, at that time I was into, you know, being philosophical and being into thought and psychology. So Think About It was just, you know, different lyrics telling you about me, about my ways of thinking and things. And the video was a groundbreaking video. That was one of the first videos where, you know, we integrated like a little movie type of sequence with the chase and the hovercraft to the boats to the helicopter to the cars.
I remember
you know what
that,
I mean?
yeah.
So it was kind of a big production back then.
So before Puffy did that big video that he did,
That was a remake of Think About It.
you did it first.
Yeah.
Man, you need to get your credits, man.
Well, you know,
They need
lot
to
of
sit there and
people-
say, we want to thank Special Ed at the back of the album.
Right, they
Because we was
should.
inspired by that. I
That's
forgot
right.
that you did that. Yeah.
That's right. But, you know, a lot of people go ahead and they infringe and do things and don't give any props or credit to the originators. So, you know, he's just one of them. Let's put
Okay.
it like that. There's a lot of them. He's just one of them.
One of many.
One of many.
But you still got it made.
Still got it made.
All right, here's Think About It. We're back here, Special Ed, talking with him, and, you know, just going back into time with you, but let's go where you're at today. Still got it made. You're Brooklyn born,
Yep.
but now
born
you
in
live
Brooklyn, New
in
York.
now you live in L.A.
Yep, been in LA about a year. I've been going back and forth since I started rapping. But
Now-
you know, I just decided to change the pace.
What's the difference between the scene in L.A. and the scene in Brooklyn? Is one grimy and one more laid back, or they
Yeah.
both grimy, or what?
Yeah, well, you know, different parts. LA has grimy parts, and Brooklyn has grimy parts, and Oakland has grimy parts, and San Francisco has grimy parts. Everywhere you go has grimy parts. And I was just saying to my man, in every city, a part of Martin Luther King Jr., whether Boulevard Avenue Street is grimy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a coincidence, something to think about. Think about it.
Okay, there you go. I'm looking at your album here, and it looks like you brought a lot of West Coast flavor. I see you got a song with the Dog Pound.
Uh-huh.
You got one with Snoop Dogg. And who's Inga?
Inga is like my little cousin.
Okay.
And she has a beautiful voice, and she blessed me on 2 songs. I originally brought her in to, just help me fiddle around with the hooks and things, and she wrote them. So basically, after she put it down, I was like, yo, this sound good. I'm gonna leave you on there.
Okay.
We gonna just rock like that. I'm that kind of guy, man. I'm into the music itself. I don't discriminate. I'm not picky. I'm not biased to who the producer may be or the artist with me may be. I work with people you may never hear of.
Right. Well, here's one person that's on here, Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah, Teddy P.
Now, did you sample him, or did you go and sit there and talk to him? Is he still doing stuff?
Well, I don't know what Teddy is doing, but what we did was Howie Tee. Howie Tee found an unreleased Teddy, probably on the internet or something. And we got it, and you don't.
Really, it's like that.
Teddy P. But you know what we did, though? We did the science, and we gave up the publishing rights to the writers of the song.
Okay, so you was fair about it.
Yeah, I was fair about it. Even on an independent release, we gave that up. And just by coincidence, it so happens that Teddy is not one of the writers.
You're kidding.
So that's just a little ironic tidbit
so he's on there
information.
singing, but he ain't the writer.
Right.
Wow.
So that's just a little information as far as that publishing conversation goes, and how you need to know what you're getting into and make sure you have some ownership of what you're doing.
Wow, because see, you might have broken Teddy off and might have taken care of him, and then you would have had this song out, and somebody would have been knocking on the door saying,
like, we got the publishing.
Yeah, you owe us.
That's
and go,
right.
Like, I gave Ted his money. It's like, he don't owe this.
That's right.
Wow.
But fortunately, neither one of them got broke off.
Really?
Nah, I mean, I gave them their publishing, but, we're an independent label.
Okay.
I sample music. I'm a hip-hop artist. I'm not one of these conglomerates that have the big budgets to, be breaking everybody off.
I hear you. What was it like working with Snoop and the Dog Pound, and and
It was
talk about the
lovely.
difference between just the type of flavor that they bring to the rap game as West Coast artists versus a lot of the artists that you work with in when you was with the Crooklyn Dodgers, for example.
Right. Well, realistically, this was something that was done out of, I guess, a mutual respect or mutual awareness of each other's abilities and music. Snoop came to me about doing some music together, and we did that. One song went on one of his albums, the Dog House album, Welcome to the House or something.
Right.
Right. And then I got that song on my album.
Okay.
Superfly produced a song on there with the Dog Pound. Basically, I was going to check Fly for some tracks.
This is before Daz and Corrupt broke up?
No, this is after they broke up.
Oh, okay.
And Daz happened to be over there. And I was like, yo, jump on the song, man. What's up? Daz got hype, took his shirt off, all that. We was in there in the studio getting kind of busy. So it's just, it was more of a real feel as opposed to, it's the paperwork and you got the money and this and that and the third. This was an album done solely out of love. Howie Tee, I got to shout him out too, because he's been with me since day one. He produced the first album in 88, 89.
Howie Tee don't get his props either, man. Talk a little bit about him. I was surprised when you said Howie Tee. I was going to go, he's still around?
He executive produced this album with me, and he produced about half of the tracks. Basically, Howie is one of the reasons I'm in L.A. also, because he moved out there about maybe close to 10 years now.
Really?
Yeah, Howie's been there since about 95, 96. So,
Who's he producing now? Who's he producing now? Well, first of all, for people who aren't familiar with Howie, name off some of the people that came out from under him, and then who's he producing?
Well, Howie Tee started off back in the days with CD3, We know the world is rough, so get tough. That's real old school for you.
Man,
Then
you
we
went
go
back there, man. If you
yeah.
remember that means you're over 30.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I used
for
to
the,
listen to that song in the house singing.
so for the record, I'll just say I heard about that record on VH1. Somebody told me about it. I heard a tape of it.
Yeah, and then he went on to UTFO with Roxanne, and then he did The Real Roxanne, and coincidentally, when I started, I wrote a record for The Real Roxanne called Don't Even Feel It, which I never got paid for. That's another one of those, know what you're doing, but that was another corrupt little label, and then he went on to do like...
That was what was that, B-Boy Records?
No, Select.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So then he went on to doing like the group Whistle, Bug 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 Bug. Then he went on to Chubb Rock and had me on there, and he did a lot of work with Full Force and Color Me Bad, and he just got into
Color Me Bad.
He did the Sex You Up joint. Yeah,
that was Howie Tee.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder he moved to L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's he producing today?
Well, Howie's been doing a lot of various work, and he's been doing a lot of catalog music for like a publishing company, and what that does is you hear a lot of his production and don't know it, because it's like a lot of commercials and a lot of things in the background on radio that you don't realize that someone is getting paid for.
That's Howie.
Hey.
Okay. So, man, still got it made. You got 13 cuts on here.
Yeah.
You got everybody on here, but more important, we got you on here. You still look the same, man.
Well,
how you doing, Ed? Man,
I try to,
You don't have an ounce of fat, man. He didn't walk. Most people, man. You still looking like you about 15. I mean, take off the hat. We might have to check your ID.
Yeah, well, I try to keep a little stress free, even though the pitfalls and ups and downs of life get at you. You just have to, realize you got your health and strength and freedom.
Okay.
And not get so stressed out. Stress and heart attacks and strokes and stuff like that is like some of the leading deaths of young men, black men, and that also. And I'm not about to follow the statistics.
Right.
I never did that, so I'm about to stay fresh.
You mentioned that you had written raps for people. You mentioned Real Roxanne. Have you ghostwritten for any others? And what's that like in terms of ghostwriting? Does that take away from the authenticity, the validity of your rap? When people go, oh, man, you ghostwrite. I mean.
Well, you know what happened to me? I got turned off from the situation because I did not get paid that I stopped doing that. And
really?
I kept just writing my own stuff. I refused basically to write for anyone else, but myself. Because I said, if I'm going to keep writing somebody's stuff and not get paid, it's about to get ugly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not one for the games, so right. I figure let me stay away from it before, it becomes a situation.
So, okay, well, that's real talk right there.
But then, I went on to see a lot of people do ghostwriting and do really well. So,
I mean, Big Daddy Kane ghost wrote for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, a lot of
Young
people.
Young MC ghost written for a lot of people.
And then it kind of shows me the same thing with like acting. I did a little acting when I was younger, and then I kind of got turned off by the fact that, I had to go in and read with 20, 30 other dudes going for the same role. So I figured, why am I going against these odds when I'm talented as an artist and I put out records and I can make a career that way?
Right.
But then I come back and I see my peers and people I came up with like Will Smith and...
That's right, you all came out around the same time.
Yeah, we all came around the same time. Ice Cube, LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, and they doing very well for themselves in Hollywood on the scene. And, even more recently, like, Lil Method Man and Redman and dudes like that been getting a little run in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure, if I stayed with it, I probably would have accomplished some great things.
So you got acting chops.
Well, I mean, I do a little of everything. I'm an entertainer, you know what I mean? That's basically what it is. I don't consider myself a rapper.
Right.
You know what I mean? I write. Yeah, I do rap, but I do a lot of other things too.
So why don't you call up with Will Smith? Y'all came out around the same time. Go, Will, put me in one of your movies. I know Cube don't be putting people in his movies. I don't understand that. I run into Cube. I run into Dub C and Mac 10. I'll be like, y'all the characters. I'll be like, is Cube going to put you in the movie? And Dub be like, he wants me to audition and hand in a resume. I was like, it's like that.
Yeah, man. Actually, I approached Cube one time too,
Right?
maybe not even that long ago. Like, yo, Cube, what's up? Da, da, da.
And he told you to hand in a resume. And
Yeah, he passed me on to the brother or the cousin or something. And, that's where it dissolved. Once you do the handoff, that's pretty much it.
it's a wrap then.
But, he's done quite a few projects that have been successful. And, I'm glad to see that, man.
Mm-hmm.
To be successful is a good thing. To share is a great thing.
Right.
So we'll see.
Well, you're in L.A., so, being there, you said Howie Tee, and you like being out here on the coast. So are you maybe going to consider either doing your own independent projects? Like I know MC Light did a couple of independent projects when she moved out there, and it is Hollywood. It's the land of of TV and movies.
Yeah, I'm getting into a little of this and that. I just did an episode of My Wife and Kids with Damon Wayans and Tisha Campbell.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that came on recently. And
so you got your SAG card and everything?
Oh, I had my SAG card for years.
Oh, okay. So when we put you in a movie, you get paid.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Movie, TV, whatever. AFTRA, SAG, it's all, it's all relative.
Right. Talking with Special Ed, getting ready to wrap it up with you. We were talking at one point, and you were talking about your Jamaican roots. And I was remarking when you listen to your old albums, there's always something with that Jamaican flavor. Tell everybody about the importance of that Jamaican heritage and your background and connection with it.
Well, my family is all from Jamaica. I was the only child that was born in Brooklyn, and, I guess that it was the land of opportunity at the time, probably still is to most. And, it changed our lives basically, but the music that I grew up with listening to was dancehall and reggae music. And my first inkling of rap was through the dance hall with artists such as Yellow Man and Fathead, and that was like a MC and his hype man.
Right.
And
Bambaataa, Pioneer Bambaataa once was saying that Yellow Man was the man.
Yeah,
he was like
Yellow Man was
very
the man.
significant figure to look at.
Exactly. That's who I looked up to as, like the best rapper. He was on top of the game. And then I started hearing the U.S. rap and stuff like Jimmy Spicer with Super Rhymes, and then you came with Sugar Hill Gang and Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel, and that whole era, as well as the street era with groups like CD3 and Howie Tee from the hood. So it was more of a tape thing where they'd make mixtapes, real mixtapes. That's what mixtapes are actually coming back to now, where it's artists and lyrics and beats. And that's what they used to do, go in the garage, cut up break beats, and rhyme and make these tapes that they would, sell.
Right, I remember
in
those
the
days.
hood.
Nowadays, a lot of times, there's some people that kind of keep the flavor, but there's a lot of people that just do damn near compilation albums and just shout over it. Yo, big shout out to, and then naming off label reps that you don't even know. Like, who?
Right.
Why are you doing that, versus just really...
They naming off the sponsors that shipped them off.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is important is the fact that you being out of Brooklyn. Were you like the first to come out of Brooklyn and talk about that whole scene?
I wasn't the first, but I think that I did set an example. Big Daddy Kane is from Brooklyn.
Okay.
There was a group, the Fat Boys are from Brooklyn.
Okay. I didn't know. I thought that you sure they're from Brooklyn. I thought we was trying to claim them in the Bronx.
No, they was East New York.
Oh, man, you kidding?
Yeah, the Fat Boys are
I'm
from
the
East
Bronx,
New York.
so I was trying to claim them, man.
Cause trying to take over. You had Curtis blowing AJ, man. Come on, leave us with the Fat
was
Boys.
Curtis from
man.
Bronx? I thought Curtis said he was Manhattan.
Manhattan, yeah, but AJ was from the Bronx.
Yeah, AJ,
the Bronx.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, still. Okay,
there were
we'll
some
give you
groups
back
that
the Fat Boys.
the Bad Boys with Inspector Gadget.
Oh, you went back there with K-Love.
Yeah,
K-Love was from the Bronx.
A beatbox. She was from the Bronx?
Yeah,
okay. Then we had Stetsasonic, big group,
from
Brooklyn. Houdini. Where was Houdini from?
Yeah, I think they were from Brooklyn.
See? So we had a lot of groundbreaking groups from Dana Dane, still in Brooklyn, Fort
Okay.
Green.
That's right. Okay.
You know, that they call Fort Green. Yeah, Dana Dane. So we had a lot of rappers that were from Brooklyn, and Brooklyn did.
But you really kind of shouted it out, though.
Oh, well, yeah.
You
I
you were
had
the
to.
first. A lot of people, I mean, they were from Brooklyn, but you
But they
didn't know.
nev-
But you did that
made it a
song, The
point.
Bush,
The Bush,
and all
right.
that. And
The
you,
Bush is a song that I did. I remember the first time I performed it was at Erasmus Hall High School in Brooklyn, and they went nuts. I was like, yo, I got to put this out. I did it to a beatbox, and they went nuts. You know what I
Really?
mean? Not even music. So I was like, yeah, this got to come out. The
Okay.
Bush. Yeah, I kind of coined the phrase, the Bush. And, you know, a lot of dudes come out, and they from the Bush this and the Bush
Bushwick.
that. Yeah, no, Flatbush.
Flatbush. I'm sorry. I'm
yeah.
thinking Bush. I just talked with Bushwick Bill the other day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, sorry.
We just did a show in Miami with Baker Palooza with the Ghetto Boys all together.
Okay, yeah.
So that was pretty nice for it was a
So
refreshing.
a lot of cats from your class, and I think you're more like the class of 87, 88, 89, that whole
Right.
era. A lot of cats is really coming back into the game and kind of putting their stakes down again.
Right. Well, what it is as far as I'm concerned, if I start working at McDonald's mopping the floor, I'm going to have to own me a branch in 10 years, 15 years. I don't see why artists and people that started in the game are not at a higher level in the game today. Why is it that we use and abuse our artists and then leave them to wither, away as if, they're non-existent?
Right.
I think that they have more experience. They have more real life experience from being in the game. They know the ins and outs, and they have the business sense and savvy. A lot of them do go into other positions and other fields because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right.
But then a lot of them are not respected in the way that they should be, and not given not even just props.
Well,
but
you know what it
dues.
is that in the music business, this is something I've always said. If you go to the average proverbial white kid in the suburbs and go, where the Beatles from? And go, oh, Liverpool. Where's Elvis from? Oh, he live in Memphis. Who the Rolling Stones? And they know Keith Richards and, Mick Jagger. And they probably even went to a concert. You go to Rolling Stones show, them cats is like 60-something years old. You see the grandfather, the father, and the son. But nowadays, you go to somebody, where James Brown from? And go, James Brown, you mean the guy that be on Fox News doing the football? It'd be like, no, James Brown, the singer. And it'd be like, who that guy sang? They don't even know. Who
Right.
George Clinton? Bill Clinton's brother? They don't know. So it gets worse because we don't, like you said, don't honor the legacies that come before us. And it's almost like we try to make it so it's disposable. But on the other side of the track, people seem to really be like, man, we riding with the Rolling Stones till they 90 years old.
Right. Well, that's just I think that's a lot to do with corporate too, because once they shut you out, they just shut you out, and they don't leave room for elevation in companies. And like nowadays, an artist can become the CEO or the president of Def Jam. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's just say the president, right? And then back then we had nothing like that. They didn't let you elevate in that way. The business was structured differently, and it wasn't for the empowerment of the artist. It was more for the use and abuse of the artist.
Right. So hopefully this starts to change.
Oh, it's changing. It's changing now. I mean, most of the artists that now have their own companies or labels or imprints or production companies. Something more than just being an artist signed to a label for the
Right.
minimum.
There you go.
And they're moving up. There's a lot more CEOs. They're getting higher rates of return. I think I heard like Little John was in the Guinness Book of World Records or something for his deal, his distribution. I think he gets like 85-90% of his money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And he got juice, man. That fool
yeah,
sent
crunk juice.
send me a whole case of crunk juice, man. We just finally got rid of it.
Yeah, see? So that's what I'm saying. We're in the drinks, energy drinks, soft drinks, alcohol. wearing sneakers,
and
perfumes,
porno movies.
clothing.
Now, Little John just signed a deal to do porno flicks. Lloyd Banks is doing porno flicks. I talked to Money B the other day. You know, he got his Sex in the Studio. So a lot of these people going in the porno industry. Ed, is that you next? You know, Son Dubious, you know, did his thing with this. Luke, of course, kicked it off, and we forget that he was even the first.
Well,
you're down in L.A., you're down near Hollywood. That's the capital of the porno industry. Is this why you really went out to L.A. to do the porno flicks? Special ed giving new meaning to the word special.
Well, I didn't say any of those things. I didn't say any of those words, but basically, what I can say is that somebody gonna do it. You know, I'm not gonna do it, but
Right.
somebody will.
Okay.
And I do have like semi-films on the works where I will be putting out DVDs.
That's
and
what I was getting at, because you
I
did
do
say
have
your films. That's why I
distribution.
wanted to know. Okay.
Yeah, I do have distribution, but I don't think that I would want to put out pornos. I
Okay.
just don't think that's
not the special
part of
ed
me.
way.
Right,
Okay.
right. I'd rather do, you know, my comedy specials, documentaries, shorts, whatever.
Halle Berry come to you, you down in L.A., goes, Ed, let's do a porno flick together. You say no or yay?
Nah, I say no.
To Halle Berry?
Well, I'll put one out with her in it, but I won't be in it, and I won't be doing it. But that will sell some units, so I might want to do that. You know, if it was like, you know, a Halle flick or, you know, a little Paris Hilton Part 2 or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I'd put those kind of things out, but I'm not in the porno game. You
Okay,
know what
I'm just checking, man. You know, because everybody seemed to be rolling that way. I'm like, hey, what do I know what's going on in the biz? You know, lastly, as we get ready to wrap it up and let everybody know about your new album, Still Got It Made. It's on Special Ed's label. Semi Records is his own, and he's got, you know, 13 full cuts. Howie Tee producing half of them, and you know, looks to be a banger with a whole lot
it
of.
definitely is. You know, got some Teddy Pendergrass on
That's
there.
right, the Teddy Pendergrass.
Sizzla Kalungi for all the, you know, people that appreciate the reggae music. Got Snoop Dogg on there. Got the Dog Pound. Got Young Roscoe on there. Got Gotti from Cash Money on there.
Young Roscoe is Corrupt's brother, right?
Yeah, Corrupt's little brother. He spits, and you know, that's like I'm saying. If somebody keep it real with me, I'm real with them, and we can do whatever we gonna do.
Yeah, and lastly, you know, I got to ask you this. You know, Comedy Central got, you know, Special Ed, the character on their Crank Yankers. What's the deal with that? Is that diluting who Special Ed's about, or?
Well, I don't think it's diluting who I'm about, but it's taking,
causing confusion.
It's causing confusion on who Special Ed is. Is it a rapper or is it a Muppet? You know what I mean? I feel like they infringing on what I've worked so hard to build. So now when you hear the name Special Ed, you might think of a puppet first before you think of the rapper.
So they're diluting the franchise.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to take a poll on that, draft up some documents and see what's going on with that.
I say take advantage of it. You know, you should do advertisement for your album right there on Comedy Central. Special Ed got a new album, got it made. That's how you get them. So it's real cheap to do advertising, a little game for you. It don't cost that much to do it on Comedy Central. Or maybe go on Dave Chappelle's show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not from Brooklyn, but he be in Brooklyn a lot.
Yeah, he has a lot of respect for that golden era of hip hop.
Yeah, you know,
and just real hip hop in general.
Yeah, he's a major figure. Well, anyway, we want to thank you for rolling through here. We're talking with the legendary Special Ed. Still got it made after all these years. He's coming with the heat. Look out for him.
No doubt.
Let me just get a couple of